This is not a ghost story. This is not a horror movie. This is a real event. One that took place in the icy forests of Germany in 1922. 6 people were murdered, including 2 children, in a remote farmhouse with no eyewitnesses, no confessions, and no resolution. This is the story of the Hinterkaifeck Murders. And what you're about to hear may make you question everything you thought you knew about safety, isolation, and the darkness in men's hearts. The Gruber family lived far from the town, surrounded by forest and silence. The patriarch, Andreas Gruber, was a known disciplinarian, some said cruel. His wife, Cecilia, rarely spoke in public. Their daughter, Victoria Gabriel, was widowed during World War I. Though there were rumors, her husband was never actually killed. Victoria had 2 children, Cecilia Jr., just 7 years old, and Joseph, a toddler whose father was never confirmed. Together, they lived on the Hinterkaifeck farm, miles from civilization, guarded only by dogs, trees, and secrets. Strange things began to happen. Andreas told neighbors about footprints in the snow leading from the forest to the house. No prints leaving. The attic creaked with footsteps, but no one was there. Keys went missing, and a strange newspaper, one the family never subscribed to, appeared inside the kitchen. The former maid became so frightened, she quit. She claimed the house was cursed, filled with whispers at night and cold spots that chilled her to the bone. No one believed her. On March 31st, 1922, a new maid, Maria Baumgartner, arrived to replace the one who fled. Her first and only night would also be her last. She barely had time to unpack her things before the sun began to set over the Hinterkaifeck farm. Somewhere in the surrounding woods, a man watched the house, waiting for darkness to fall. That evening, one by one, the family was drawn to the barn by something or someone. Maybe they heard a noise. Maybe an animal was let loose intentionally. Or maybe the killer knew them and called them out. Andreas was the first to die, struck in the head with a mattock. Then his wife. Then Victoria. Then little Cecilia Jr. Each one bludgeoned, their skulls split wide open. Cecilia Jr. survived long enough to tear out clumps of her own hair in agony. Inside the house, baby Joseph and Maria were murdered in their beds. But what came next is what truly disturbs. The killer didn't flee. He stayed. Over the next 3 days, smoke was seen rising from the chimney. Food was prepared. Animals fed. Someone slept in their beds. Neighbors believed the family was just busy with Easter preparations. They had no idea a murderer was inside the home. It wasn't until April 4th, 4 days after the killings, that neighbors investigated. What they found was a scene of unspeakable horror. In the barn, under piles of straw and hay, lay the bodies, partially frozen, blood soaked into the dirt. Inside, the maid was found in her room, Joseph in his cradle. The police arrived, but they were unprepared. The crime scene was trampled by villagers. Photos were taken, but evidence was compromised, and the killer was gone. The Munich police launched an investigation. Andreas had enemies. Victoria had lovers. Dozens of suspects were interviewed. Soldiers, farmers, lovers, and even Victoria's own father. One theory claimed that Lorenz Schlittenbauer, a neighbor and former lover of Victoria, may have killed her in a jealous rage. He was the first to discover the bodies, yet acted strangely calm. But the case never held. Every suspect had an alibi, a flaw in the timeline, or no motive. Even psychics were consulted. Nothing helped. Over the decades, theories multiplied. Was it a serial killer passing through? Was Victoria's dead husband still alive and seeking revenge? Did someone live in the attic, slowly going mad before striking? One theory speculates the killer lived in the house for weeks, even eating dinner with the family, waiting for the perfect moment. Even more disturbing, years later, villagers confessed hearing screams from the forest that night, and doing nothing. The farm was eventually torn down. During demolition, children claimed to see shadowy figures in the windows. Some even said they heard a baby crying, when the house was already empty. The skulls of the victims were sent to Munich for forensic testing. But during World War II, they were lost. Forever. No proper burial. No justice. No peace. Today, nothing remains of the Hinterkaifeck farm except the trees, the wind, and a small memorial stone. No DNA, no weapon, no fingerprints. Just a whisper in history, and the chilling knowledge that a killer walked away. Some believe the killer confessed on their deathbed. Others say the murderer may have never felt remorse. And some still wonder, could it happen again? Could someone live in your attic right now?